What if I told you the secret to rebuilding muscle after 60 isn't in a supplement bottle, a protein powder, or an expensive treatment plan, but in cheese sitting quietly in your fridge? For years, cheese has had a bad reputation. Too fatty, too salty. But science now shows that the right kinds of cheese can actually fight sarcopenia, the silent muscle loss that weakens millions after 60. The truth is, muscle loss is not inevitable. And today, I'm going to show you 3 everyday cheeses that can help you stay strong, steady, and independent far longer than you think. Let me take you on a journey. Imagine waking up in the morning, your joints are a little stiff, your legs don't feel quite as steady as they used to, and you notice that climbing the stairs or carrying the groceries feels harder every year. This isn't just aging. This is muscle loss at work. Now imagine instead that you wake up, you move with strength, you feel balanced. You can lift, walk, bend, and climb with energy. You don't feel fragile, you feel capable. That difference often comes down to whether or not you've been feeding your body the right tools it needs to maintain and rebuild muscle. And one of those tools, believe it or not, comes from cheese. Now, before you shake your head and think this sounds too good to be true, let me explain why. Muscle health after 60 is about more than just exercising. Of course, movement matters, and I will never tell you otherwise. But muscles are built from amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Without enough of the right protein, your muscles simply cannot rebuild themselves, no matter how many steps you take or how much stretching you do. And as we get older, our bodies become more stubborn. The same amount of protein that worked when you were 30 or 40 simply doesn't trigger the same muscle growth response when you are 60 or 70. Scientists call this anabolic resistance, and it means your muscles need stronger signals and more powerful foods to keep growing. That's where cheese comes in. Not just any cheese, but 3 very specific types that contain the proteins, amino acids, and nutrients your body needs to fight muscle loss naturally. The first one is probably sitting in the back of your fridge right now, and many people dismiss it because it reminds them of old diet fads. Cottage cheese. Yes, cottage cheese, that soft, creamy, humble food that often gets overlooked. But here's what makes it special. Just half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese gives you 14 grams of high-quality protein for only 81 calories. Nearly 70% of the calories come from protein, which puts it in a league of its own compared to most cheeses. For comparison, cheddar cheese only gets about 24% of its calories from protein. That's a massive difference. But it's not just the quantity of protein that makes cottage cheese powerful, it's also the type. Cottage cheese is loaded with leucine, one of the most important amino acids for triggering muscle growth. Think of leucine as the ignition key for your muscle engine. Without it, the engine won't start. As we age, our muscles require more leucine to respond, and cottage cheese delivers over 1 gram of leucine in just half a cup. Older adults need about 3 grams of leucine at each meal to spark muscle building, so a simple serving of cottage cheese gets you 1/3 of the way there. Now here's why I recommend cottage cheese so often to my patients. It's soft, easy to eat, and very gentle on the digestive system. Many older adults tell me they struggle with tough meats or they've lost some of their appetite. Cottage cheese solves both problems. You can eat it straight from the container, mix it with fruit, blend it into smoothies, or even use it in savory dishes. The texture is easy, the digestion is smooth, and the benefits are profound. But here's the real kicker. The protein in cottage cheese is primarily casein, what scientists call a slow-release protein. That means it digests slowly, releasing a steady stream of amino acids to your muscles for 6 to 8 hours. Think of it as a time-release muscle protector. If you eat cottage cheese before bed, it can literally prevent your body from breaking down muscle overnight while you sleep. Imagine waking up stronger instead of weaker, simply because of what you ate before going to bed. That's the power of cottage cheese. Now let me paint you a quick picture. One of my patients, a 71-year-old gentleman named Robert, used to struggle with getting enough protein. He didn't like shakes, he didn't like powders, and steak was too hard on his teeth. We added just 1 cup of cottage cheese to his daily breakfast. Within 3 months, his strength tests improved dramatically. He could get out of his chair faster, climb stairs more easily, and even his balance improved. The change wasn't magic. It was simply giving his muscles the fuel they needed, and cottage cheese was the perfect delivery system. Now let's move on to our second cheese, Parmesan. Yes, the very same Parmesan that you might sprinkle over pasta. Except what most people don't realize is that Parmesan isn't just a garnish, it's a nutritional powerhouse. Because it's aged, Parmesan becomes extremely dense in nutrients. A small amount packs a high level of protein, calcium, and phosphorus, all critical for muscle strength and bone health. 1 ounce of Parmesan delivers about 10 grams of protein, and unlike some softer cheeses, it's also highly digestible. Your body absorbs it quickly, making it a perfect addition to meals where you need a concentrated protein boost without eating a large portion. Parmesan is also naturally lower in lactose, which means many people who struggle with milk digestion tolerate Parmesan very well. For seniors who want something flavorful, easy, and powerful, Parmesan is a secret weapon. Sprinkle it over vegetables, soups, eggs, or salads, and suddenly you've transformed a simple meal into a muscle-supporting dish. I once worked with a woman named Ellen, 68 years old, who had been told she needed to increase her protein but hated the idea of eating large meals. She loved flavor but wanted something light. Parmesan became her daily ritual. Just a sprinkle on her roasted vegetables at lunch and again at dinner, and she was adding 20 grams of protein to her day without even noticing. 3 months later, she reported not only feeling stronger but also steadier when she walked her dog. Parmesan made the difference because it concentrated so much nutrition in such a small, tasty serving. And now the third cheese, which might surprise you even more, Greek feta. Feta cheese is tangy, crumbly, and delicious, but here's why it makes the list. Unlike processed cheeses, feta is rich in conjugated linoleic acid, a healthy fat that has been shown to support muscle metabolism and reduce inflammation. It's also a good source of high-quality protein and calcium, both of which play roles in muscle contraction and repair. Many of my older patients find feta appealing because it adds a burst of flavor without needing to eat large portions. You can crumble it over salads, mix it with grilled vegetables, or even add it to omelets. The key with feta is not to overdo the salt, but to use it strategically to make meals satisfying, which in turn makes it easier to consistently eat enough protein day after day. Picture this. Margaret, age 73, loved Greek salads but always thought cheese was bad for her. When we reintroduced feta in balanced portions, she not only started enjoying her meals again, but she also noticed her afternoon fatigue fading. Why? Because she was finally giving her muscles the right signals to grow and repair. Sometimes the answer isn't more food, it's the right food. Feta gave her flavor, satisfaction, and the protein her body was desperately waiting for. Now let's bring all of this together. Cottage cheese for slow-release protein and leucine, Parmesan for concentrated strength in small portions, and feta for flavor, CLA, and added variety. These 3 cheeses aren't about indulgence, they're about empowerment. They're about staying strong, steady, and independent after 60. And the best part is, they're simple, affordable, and already available in your local store. You don't need exotic powders or expensive supplements. You just need to make a few smart choices with foods you already enjoy. So the next time you open your fridge, I want you to see cheese differently. Not as something guilty, not as something to fear, but as a quiet ally in your fight against sarcopenia. Every bite can be a step toward more strength, more balance, more independence. Remember, sarcopenia is not inevitable. Muscle loss is not your destiny. With the right foods, the right choices, and a little consistency, you can stay strong well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Information is only power if you act on it. So grab a pen, write down these 3 cheeses: cottage cheese, Parmesan, and feta. Find a way to work them into your meals every single day. Morning, noon, or night, it doesn't matter. What matters is consistency. The small daily actions you take add up to massive changes over time. If this video gave you value, if it opened your eyes to something new, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Golden Wisdom, like this video, and share it with someone you care about. Because staying strong after 60 is not just about you, it's about inspiring those around you. Together we can spread this message, fight muscle loss, and live with more strength, more balance, and more freedom. Stay connected with us, because your best years aren't behind you. They're right here, and with the right choices, they can be stronger than ever.